Hello ladies and gentlemen, jury, I'm Dan the Movie Man, and today I'm back with another movie review, this time The Beguiled, the Sofia Coppola version in 2017. The film was directed and written by Sofia Coppola and stars Colin Farrell, Nicole Kidman, Kirsten Dunst and Elle Fanning, plus a bunch of other child actors. And it's the story of an all-girls school in Virginia in 1864, in the middle of the American Civil War, when one of the girls stumbles upon an American Union soldier. And brings him into their school, and the tensions begin to rise. Who is the beguiled? Is Colin Farrell playing them, or are they playing Colin Farrell? Sofia Coppola made a remake of the 1971 movie The Beguiled, directed by Don Siegel and starring Clint Eastwood, and she has taken a different approach. This time an approach from the women's perspective rather than from the male ones. The film is really well acted by Colin Farrell, Kirsten Dunst, and Nicole Kidman and Elle Fanning. The whole cast is actually really good. Colin Farrell, I think, shines in this film particularly, but mainly because of the amount of charisma his character had. He was really charming and really just like, as soon as he wakes up, he's just there. It's the charisma is just, he's just there. He's on it, just 100%. Nicole Kidman again doesn't disappoint. She's a really strong matriarchal figure that is having struggles of her own. Struggles to kind of maintain that matriarchal control and protect the girls that she is literally her job to protect. Kirsten Dunst also does really well in this film, but the only issue is I think she's miscast, because I didn't know that until after this film that she was meant to play a very plain Jane kind of character, because me growing up, I see Kirsten Dunst as Mary Jane Watson from Spider-Man. I see her as this beauty that Peter Parker wanted to be with, and so I don't really get that. I don't really get the character of that Edwina is meant to be. I just you sat there like, it's Kirsten Dunst. Why doesn't Colin Farrell want to be with Kirsten Dunst? So probably miscast, but she still does well considering. Sofia Coppola directs this film really well. She takes a different approach to it than 1971 version. She takes it from the women's perspective and is a bit more restraint. It's a completely different version. Whereas from what I've heard, the Don Siegel version is a bit out there, a bit balls to the wall basically. But Sofia Coppola is very restrained. She's very ambiguous, very restricted, which I can very much appreciate. It's a very different take, but I personally wanted more, to be honest. But that's just me personally. It's a very well crafted movie, but it's a lot of tension in the regard of people sitting silently in a room. There's nothing actually happening. There's nothing really going on, but you can just feel from facial expressions the sort of anger. It's very subtle in that way, which is very good, but I think not altogether that entertaining to some audiences. I know, but I can appreciate it, but I just wanted more, which, to be honest, I think means that I should probably watch the 1971 version. I think my actual favourite aspect of this entire movie is sort of the classic old-timey style of the film. The opening title sequence is by far my favourite moment of this film, because of the aspect ratios established in its sort of classic box shape, and also when the title, The Beguiled, fades into shot. It's very classical looking, very 1970s filmic kind of look that it has. Also with the shot of the girl walking in the woods, it's very kind of classical, and I felt that can be quite nostalgic to older audiences, and I thought it was quite nostalgic having watched a lot of classic films, and I thought that was really good. I think Sofia Coppola could do that. She's obviously taken note from the original version plus sort of films of that time, and incorporated that into this timepiece period movie, because that's another thing. It didn't just set up a kind of classical movie kind of vibe. It also established its 1964 setting in the American Civil War, because you get that. You get that old-timey setting, not in the sense of old cinema, but in the sense of just like of the time that it's set in, the American Civil War, so it's very good at establishing time in that way, and I thought that was really well done in literally just the simplest of ways in the opening title sequence. I think my only issue with this film is I think it was falsely advertised to me, because the first time I saw this trailer, which is ironic, so I saw the film It Comes at Night, and it was played before that film played, and It Comes at Night is notoriously known for misleading its audience. It advertised itself as, sort of a conventional horror movie. Don't go like there's going to be a monster, and because, it comes at night, you expect there to be a creature that's going to kill you at night, and there isn't one. But when watching the trailer, so that was advertised as a horror film. When I saw that the trailers that were all with The Beguiled were horror movie trailers. There's Annabelle Creation, there's the new It adaptation. There were horror trailers that were played while The Beguiled was in amongst them. And seeing the trailer itself, regardless of the other trailers that are played, it does allude to a more of an exciting horror movie. This film is quite horrific. This film is kind of a horror film, but not in the sense that the trailer alluded to. The trailer alluded at a much more disturbing, kind of exciting kind of film with a bit of that had a pulse, whereas the film itself is actually doesn't have that. It's almost sort of dead. It hasn't really got that much of a pulse to it. It's kind of just sort of moving slowly, and kind of just things are happening slowly. It's quite slow. The Beguiled is a period piece essentially, with a that is kind of horrific, but it's not a horror film. And the trailer kind of promised me a kind of a horror film-ish, and I did sort of get one, but not in the regard to the one that was advertised to me. And so, of course, I feel a bit cheated of seeing it, even though the film doesn't take away much from the film. The film is still a good film. It's just now another classic case of when the advertising department is taking away from the director's vision, or trying to take away from the director's vision, and there's like that lack of communication between the departments, and that is just sort of a real big issue in my opinion. So all in all, The Beguiled is a beautiful looking film. Like, the cinematography is outstanding. It is really beautiful looking, very atmospheric, and Sofia Coppola does a really good job at constructing this kind of very ambiguous and restrained movie that is really well acted by its cast, but I do wish gave a little bit more. But I think that is mainly due to the fact that I feel the film falsely advertised to me. But nonetheless, you can't deny that this film is actually really well made. Sofia Coppola was the second woman ever to win the Best Director at Cannes Film Festival, and like her father is Francis Ford Coppola, the man who directed two of the greatest films of all time, The Godfather and The Godfather Part 2, as well as Apocalypse Now. And just look at him. He's got 5 Oscars to his name. 5 Oscars. And I just want to state now, this, I don't mean this in any sexist way. I'm not saying that the only reason she's a good director is because of her father. No, I would say that any child that has taken on the job of like their father, like a, as a director, or anything, would have learnt from them. I said the same about Ridley Scott's son, who directed Morgan. I'm like, who do you think taught him how to make a sci-fi movie? Who do you think? So yeah, Sofia Coppola is a great director in her own right, and I think she did learn from the best with Francis Ford Coppola. Obviously, she would have got some wisdom from this guy. But she is this film is just another case of how she's a good director she's a good filmmaker in her own right. She has her own Oscar. For her own Oscar she earned herself for writing Lost in Translation, and this film again proves that she is a good filmmaker. She knows how to write and construct a film. Personally, I didn't really like the ambiguousness of it. It really did help, but I would have liked a bit more closure to it. but then at the same time I liked it. You know, it's odd because I liked it, but I hated it. You know, that ambiguous nature to the film. But so yeah, if I was going to rate this film out of 10, I think I'm being a bit harsh, but I give it about 6 out of 10. You know, 6 out of 10 is kind of like okay for me. That's what how I rate it. It's sort of, it's a really good film in the sense, in the regard of like how it's constructed and everything like that, but it just didn't work for me. Thanks for listening to my review of The Beguiled. If you have any different opinions, or if you want to let me know what you think, let me know. But in the meantime, thank you for listening, thank you for watching, and goodbye.